Hello world, my name is Shelley Benhoff and I own a company with a fully remote team, and I've also managed global teams for large corporations. In the next 10 minutes, I will walk you through 5 steps that you can take to foster collaboration in your remote teams. We will begin by discussing implementing regular video calls, which can provide a better human connection versus text chat or regular calls. Then we'll talk about creating a virtual water cooler so that your employees can discuss non-work related topics and inject some fun into their day. After that, we'll discuss practicing active listening, which can help to ensure that everyone is on the same page. Next, we'll talk about scheduling virtual happy hours to help your team connect casually outside of their work. And finally, we will discuss communicating regularly throughout the work week. When you're managing a fully remote team, you should have a video conference at least once per day. If some employees are not comfortable being on camera, you should invite them to turn on their camera occasionally. It helps to see facial expressions and body language to better understand what the other members of the team are saying. I like to use custom video backgrounds as well to make meetings more fun, at least internally. My meetings usually start with a discussion on everyone's backgrounds, and it's okay if some people don't use one. Virtual backgrounds have really taken off in the past year or so, and you can also have moving backgrounds using video files and broadcasting software. Remote employees can sometimes feel isolated, so it's important for you to foster team collaboration. When your team's remote, it's really important to add fun to the day. Without the chance to go over to other employees in person to have a chat, remote employees do tend to feel isolated. You want to make sure that your remote employees feel like they're part of the team and not just a voice on the phone. It's a good practice to create a virtual water cooler or a place where your employees can chat about just about anything. If you're using Slack or a similar collaboration and chat tool, you can create a virtual water cooler channel or a series of channels covering a broad range of topics that your employees are interested in. Most companies I work with use Slack or Microsoft Teams as their collaboration tool, and they create a wide range of non-work related channels. My favorites are always the channels where people share pictures of their pets, especially cats. That way, your employees will have the opportunity to connect on a personal level, which will help to enforce better team collaboration. Active listening is the act of paraphrasing the information you have just taken in and then relaying it back to your coworkers. You should really never assume that everyone is on the same page. By relaying information back to your coworkers, you'll ensure that nothing was missed and that you fully understand the message. Active listening is incredibly useful at the end of a meeting to reiterate what was talked about and to set action items for yourself and your team. When you begin practicing active listening on a regular basis, you'll find that you will spend less time fixing issues that happened because of miscommunication. It's also really useful for team members who do not speak English as their first language. I always use active listening in these situations to make sure that I understand what they need or what they're asking. You can and should also use active listening in email or chat as well, because some things are not conveyed well in text form. Scheduling virtual happy hours can help your team connect casually on a personal level. This can really help your team overcome conflict when it arises, because they will understand each other better and where everyone is coming from. There are many platforms out there to help you manage your virtual happy hours. If you have a large team, consider using something like Zoom and the breakout room feature to split your team into smaller groups. You should also set up your breakout rooms to include employees who do not interact with each other regularly, so that they have a chance to get to know each other. When you're leading the virtual happy hour, make sure to have a list of activities and talking points for when there's a lull in the conversation. Even if it's supposed to be a casual meetup, the last thing you want to have is complete silence for too long, which will make your team uncomfortable and less likely to attend in the future. Communicating regularly with your team as a manager will foster an environment of collaboration. When you lead by example, you will provide your employees with something to aspire to. As a manager, you should encourage your employees to have constant discussions among themselves and not be afraid to speak up if they don't understand something. If an employee comes to you with a problem or question, it's your job to remove the blocker that's preventing them from being productive and completing work. If you don't know the answer to the question, it's your job to find the person who can help them. That way, if they have a similar question in the future, they will know who to ask on their own, which will help increase their productivity. It's like the old proverb says, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Your ultimate goal is to have a self-managing team, and you can achieve that by teaching your employees where they can turn to in order to get the information that they need to be productive. That's it. In this webinar, we covered the 5 main steps that I take to help foster collaboration in my remote team, including implementing regular video calls, creating a virtual water cooler, practicing active listening, scheduling virtual happy hours, and communicating regularly. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me on LinkedIn or on Twitter @sbenhoff. Thanks again and have a great day.